Right, so following on from dinner,
Following on from dinner, it was a lovely
talked
dinner.
about some very fast runners you've got that you coach. My question is, if you tell me, what does like a high level or
Yeah.
week, month
Yeah, no, it's
training plan
it
look
is a good
like?
question. Yeah, what for them being just pure
Yeah,
runners?
yeah. Well, how like I suppose like how did they get to being that fast? If you've coached them from not being that quick to being quick, and then how do you maintain that kind of level of being quick? You know, we're talking like what, like sub 16, 15, 14 minute 5K runners.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty serious running.
I mean, yeah, I suppose if you ask 5 different coaches, you'll get 10 different answers. I suppose. I mean, I don't have the answers, but they would have all started with really good genetics and backgrounds. Actually, having said that, the ones in reference, for example, the 14-minute runner only started around COVID running with his dad. But then he's clearly got really good genetics from his parents, because you have to have very high VO2 max to run quick. Let's say 5,000 meters is the in question. You can do anything when you can run 5Ks fast. You know, you can obviously step up to a 10 and marathon quite well. You have to have a very high percentage utilization of your VO2 max. So let's put that fairly simple. If you can run 5 minutes flat out, it'll be a good correlation of what your VO2 max is. Say you can do, I'm going to guess you can probably do 3:30 a K for 5 minutes. So whatever that is, 17.5 Ks an hour. If you can utilize the oxygen like effectively to run 90% of that pace as your VO2 max, then carrying that over to a marathon, if you carry that over, if you carry that high utilization over to something like a marathon, which is the distance you're training, then it's obviously 90% of 3:30 pace. That's very quick. Most people are around 70-75% utilization. So from physiological terms, so they're underdeveloped. So then next question is, how do you develop that underdeveloped system? It's understanding exactly what that slow point is. Most people run that too fast. Yeah. So example, your coach will always be saying to you, you need to run your easy runs easier. Yeah. So that's to develop that big area around that low point, or LT1, or your low aerobic, or your MAF training, maximal aerobic fitness. And we know that if you do a lot of volume there, it'll raise everything up. It'll also improve your running economy. So the key to running fast is really good running economy. Biomechanics really help. Efficiency of movement. So when you see these good runners, for example, Cal, when you see him run, everything just moves beautifully and very high leg speed. So muscle firing, economy, strength, and then you unfortunately do have to also have quite a bit of good genetics. So being a triathlete, it's very hard. There's only the elite pro triathletes running those times. They're dedicating obviously full-time training. This is my view. You know, they're full-time training. They're doing a lot of aerobic work on the bike, which helps keep the volume down on the run, because they don't have to do those 120, 140K weeks, because they're getting a lot of the aerobic system they're getting a lot of the aerobic work from the bike, which we haven't really understood very well until, I suppose, the last 10 years. We sort of maybe were guessing a bit that it was contributing to good run performance, but actually now we know that it's non-impact related. You can do a lot of first turn point training, etc., etc. So a long answer. I don't know what the magic bullet is. It's kind of a combination of everything. The people in question that you were asking had some history in quick running. The person we were talking about at dinner, that Felix spoke to me, and then he's come back being really unstructured and injured in the past, and now he's running quick. Back to that consistency, 2 sessions a week. What do their week look like? We don't do any more than 2, like a Tuesday and a Friday. And that would be a harder type session, so quality, pretty much what you do. And then there's sort of 4 or 5 runs around that's supported. It might be a little bit of strength, heel work, always sprinkle a little bit of heel work in, and then bring in the bike and gym work. And then it's just, that gain came, I'll give you that example, and I shared it on the socials. That runner came from around 15 minutes when we started, Oh, that light keeps going off. So he was already running 3 minutes a K for 5Ks. So, and then that progression over a year to 14:10 was 100 Ks a week, with a couple of weeks in the summer where he just went down to Cornwall and he ran like 50, 60 Ks off plan, but just every week turning up. And he had one group that he ran with on a Tuesday. I manipulated the intensity around that, but didn't dictate that session. He ran with quicker runners. That always brings you up, like you know. And then the rest of the week we molded around that. And it seems to work for him. And then now we layer on strength and more riding this year. And actually I think he can handle more speed to bring his 3K down. And that's going to knock on to a sub 14 this year, ideally. Yeah. So long answer, sorry, I can never give a...
So a little follow-up question.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So as an older athlete or someone who's getting older...
Yeah, you're in your 30s.
Yeah, in my mid-30s, yeah.
You're still not in your 50s.
So, I think I run all right, but then, if you could say, like, what things should I focus on as I get older to either maintain speed or still improve on what I'm already doing?
Never neglect intensity. Always sprinkling in all year round. Might be 5 by 30 second fast strides up a little hill at the end of a steady run. Sprinkling. Try not have long breaks off running. So like, I'm not going to run for 2-3 weeks. Why do we normally have breaks? It's because we pick up niggles. Why do we pick up niggles? It's a load intensity imbalance. We've done too much too soon. We've not respected the volume and the intensity relationship. So if we look at the hierarchy, I'd always just come back to running, slowly increase your volume. Slowly increase your frequency per week. Then we slowly bring up the volume. Then you maintain volume, then you start to bring in a little bit of intensity, really little bit. And then once you've got that structure, that might take 3 months. People go straight to I'll do 1 intensity sessions a week. And then they neglect the frequency, volume, intensity hierarchy. Because what brings us back to that bigger running economy is the big, easy running. So some people can handle a high volume of training and not break down. Looking at you run, there's probably more of a movement issue that you could improve. So mobility, hip extension. You're probably a bit more of a stiffer athlete from your biking. So you need more work on that. Just watching you run nicely and move well. And as you head into your 40s, your recovery between those 2 hard sessions, you probably need to, in my view, and being 46 myself, used to be like 2 days happy to like do a Tuesday and a Thursday session. Yeah. But like a Tuesday and a Friday or even a Monday, you want as many days, at least 3 between, but obviously 7 days in a week. So you want to just really, really recover from those and don't neglect the O2 max work. So if you can't do it on the run because you're a little bit niggly, it's okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. No, it's cool. You can come and join us if you want. It's free.
Little edit.
Yeah, a little edit. Basically, never neglect the VO2 max. And it's something I do, and I kick myself because the longer you neglect it, you make up all sorts of excuses. And I know I need to be on the bike doing some sort of VO2 max. And for some, it's uncomfortable. That's my weak area. So I know, love that stuff. And that's a nice quality to have. So actually, there is no magic bullet. It's gym work, which I know you've fallen in love with from October. You've probably done a bit of it, but most people don't do enough of it. And because you're like, I'm not going running. Like I want to run to get better. But we now know that that's super important. So just build on it 10 years, like 10 years of run training. And you're like, wow, 10 years. Yeah, there's no reason why you can't break 17 minutes, What are you, like a 17:30, 18? No.
Quickest, 17:02.
Oh, 02. So we'll call it 17 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's no reason.
Well, that's like consistent 17, like, 36, 37 consistently on the run.
One of the big learnings that you can't work on all 3 at the same time. And I think people struggle with certainly triathletes. It's like if we going to tackle a swim project, you really need to be quite fresh. So with a run, it's like, whoa, it's like 20, 30 Ks a week. If you like you've been tackling your biking a lot with Nick, like brilliant, but don't expect your run to then come up at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think professional triathletes struggle with that from observation. I'm not like a guru, but just like, I'm running really poorly, but they're like riding like 4:15 in an Ironman. I'm like, okay, cool. Do you understand the development? And that's where you look at a 3-year, 5-year development, because then you maintain a bike and then you bring something else up.
Yeah.
But if the person like Jan Frodeno had a massive swim background, you know, he just cruises, and then he obviously slowly brought his biking up, and then, and of course he just mechanically runs very well, and he's got really long levers, and you know, obviously a big VO2 max. So, yeah, it's keep plugging away, try not to have long breaks, and never neglect the intensity. Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, you've had enough mic time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.